If you could choose one animal to go extinct, who will it be and why? What stopped you from having a crush on them? What's the dumbest myth people today believe? My dad had this guy helping him out, think big box store DIY curb ready helper, who told him if you sleep with your hair wet, you will bleed out of your mouth. And he was 110% sure that was fact. We were both just confused and bewildered at this statement. What the hell had this guy witnessed? Lie detectors as a literal thing. There's a reason they aren't admissible as evidence in court in most places. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's relatively easy to lie on lie detectors if you just know like what you're doing, I guess. Black belts have to register their fists as weapons. I can't believe I was dumb enough to fall for that. Detox drinks. I feel like there might be some that kinda work, but most of the time, no, it's not cleaning your body of toxins. Tear here to open. It's really 50-50 if this will work, because half the time I still have to use my teeth and just rip it open like an animal. Fish only have a 5-second memory. My fish are fed automatically on a timer, and they know dinner time better than my goddamn cat. I remember the myth that gum takes 7 years to fully pass through your digestive system. No clue why that one became popular, I guess because it's just hard to disprove. You have to wait 48 hours to report someone missing. I thought it was like maybe just 24 hours, because 48 is like a lot of time to wait. That Einstein failed his grad school math class. It was the subject of a Ripley's Believe It or Not column in 1935, and Einstein himself refuted the article. In primary school, he had been at the top of his class, and by 15, he had mastered differential and integral calculus. What lie do people need to stop believing? Your call is important to us. Please stay on the line. If my call was really that important, you'd have somebody talking to me 40 minutes ago. Number 14 will shock you. It's just classic clickbait. Now don't touch that dial. We've got some crazy questions coming up, and number 60 will make you shit in your pants. The whole belief of small animals like reptiles, fish, and rodents have no intelligence and function on instinct alone. This belief is very harmful in the pet trade due to misinformation, including the idea that they don't benefit from any enrichment/stimuli and do best in a tiny empty box given the bare minimum or borderline neglectful care. These animals are far smarter than people realize. They can recognize faces, can be trained, capable of problem solving, and so much more. Tear here to open. See also resealable. See also flushable. I know they're always lying, but I will keep falling for them. That everyone gets a happy ending. You've got to pay extra for that. That mama birds won't take their babies back after humans touch them. Put that baby back. Edit. I didn't expect that to take off, LOL. But yes, there are many types of birds that will end up on the floor either way, but you might end up saving one bird that gets to stay. That MLMs are a good source of income. They are if you're an evil person who just has no problem scamming people. It'll be easier if I get gas in the morning on the way to work. Lies. Okay, but it would be easier. The problem is that I never give myself enough time. That only 1% can beat that one mobile game. I despise how mobile game ads decided to just start showing the worst possible gameplay just to get you mad, so you're like, I can do that better than they can, and I'll show you. Which hobbies that people do screams rich people. In Sweden, it's tennis. Even though tennis isn't super expensive, that's where all the millionaires / their kids are. Flying to F1 races. I think just the ability to fly anywhere, just whenever you want, that's really the rich thing. I work for Porsche. Many clients have racetrack memberships where they garage their cars and have track days. 80 to 90K initiation fee, 10K annual fee for some memberships. My neighbor is a yachtsman who makes a middle-class living racing rich people's yachts. So I would say hiring people to indulge your hobby is about as 1% as one can get. I mean, so long as he's actually paying the people he's hiring pretty well, then I guess it could be fine. Polo. Honest to God, I don't think I've ever in my life seen a polo game or it ever happening in general. I don't think it exists. Summering. Only rich people will ask another person where they summer. Where do you summer? In my bedroom? At my job? God, I wish I could have a summer vacation again. We had a meet and greet with a new executive at my company, and she told us one of her hobbies is investing in real estate. Oh yeah, what a great hobby to just just buy up homes and sell them for too much. Yachts and yacht clubs. I'll never understand the point of having a yacht because you maybe use it like once every 3 years unless you're crazy and love to go in the ocean. What was a big or popular saying when you were a teen? Honestly, not even sure. A lot of the new terminology has infected my brain, so I can't, there's just no room for old stuff. Jinx, you owe me a Coke. Okay, that one was pretty big. I feel like I haven't heard people jinxing anymore. Not. Nice comment. Not. Good one. Not. I'll never know if that was spawned because of Borat or if Borat just used it. Like, totally. Like, you know? Totally. Like, you know, whatever. Up your butt and around the corner. God, saying this as a kid, you just felt so cool. Suck it. Gestures an X over crotch. Oh God, that one's an old one. Oh my lord. My 46-year-old son calls me home slice. Home skillet? That ain't no etch-a-sketch. This is one doodle that can't be undid, home skillet. Faux show. Now that I think about it, I haven't heard faux show in a while. Weird. I know you are, but what am I? This was basically just saying this argument will never end because we're elementary school kids and stubborn. That's my name. Don't wear it out. Take a picture. It'll last longer. Talk to the hand because the face ain't listening. Oh no, she didn't. Moray. Booyah! If you're a fan of Teen Titans, I mean, Cyborg pops that off every few minutes, right? Cool beans. I'm sure if you're a millennial, you still have some friends that say it, or you are the friend who says it. Oh, snap! Kinda glad I never picked that one up. That's so random. I like pickles. OMG. I'm so random, XD. All that and a bag of chips. Honestly, can't say I've ever heard somebody say this. What is a movie that has aged poorly? A lot of comedies from the early 2000s and 90s. The Last Exorcism, made obsolete by The Last Exorcism 2. Never Been Kissed. Drew Barrymore posing as a teenager and having a relationship with the teacher who gets mad when he finds out she's not a teenager and his age. Then we're just supposed to smooth it over at the end. Yeah, that's a little... Hi, BuzzFeed. The 1990s, I think, Muppets movie where someone shows Kermit what the world would be like if Kermit was never born. I think it fast forwards to NYC 2002, and in the movie, the Twin Towers were still standing. So canonically, Kermit being born somehow caused 9/11? Now that is a butterfly effect I didn't think I'd ever really conceptualize, I guess. The movie about the world ending in 2012. Such a weird time in history when we all just thought the world would end in 2012. The entire subgenre of romantic comedy that can be described as stalker gets the girl. Benjamin Button. Are you crazy? Dude looked 7 when he was 80. The Blue Lagoon. Never seen it, but the only thing I think about when I hear that title is the SpongeBob Lake. 90% of American silent films. They age so poorly they literally don't exist anymore. Hoodwinked. I still think it's a great movie, but the animation style is horrific in today's age. Admittedly, the animation is pretty yikes, but the movie's so good in fact that Rian Johnson stole the idea and made Knives Out. Is there a strange way people shorten the name of McDonald's where you live? If so, how? Duncan, Sweden. McDicks, same in BC. Can confirm, that's what we call it in Chilliwack. Mickey D's, Mackie D's, Mackie D's nuts. Got 'em. McDo. I assume French, so I would like to add domac, which is also used sometimes. Verlan detected. Macca's. This took way too long to find. Denmark here. Lots of people call it Macken. When I was younger, I heard a lot of people call it Den Gildenmag, which translates to the golden seagull. Sorry for laughing. I don't know if I'm saying it right, but I'm trying. Don's. What area says this? For me, it's like some areas outside Toronto. Mackey's. Pretty standard for the UK. Wife and I call it Dick Monald's. God, oh, that's so good. I'm taking that. Megas/Megas. Germany. Once again, I'm American and dumb. I don't know how to say words, okay? What screams I'm insecure? When people are unable to admit that they don't know something. A little bit of humility goes a long way, people. Mocking someone else's achievement. Belittling others. I feel like it depends depends on context for some of these, but yeah, you probably shouldn't belittle someone you just meet when you're quick to be brutally honest with others, but have a meltdown when someone does it back to you. People who tear other people down as a joke, but then get mad when they get it handed back to them. Clearly, they either aren't joking or are too sensitive to be dishing out shit. Reading this whole thread and praying none of the answers apply to me. http:// You always want to go for the HTTPS. One-upping people in conversation. If I tell you I had a great trip to X place, I don't need to hear about your better trip to someplace else that's ostensibly better. You will address me by my husband's rank. Oh my god, oh yuck, I can actually visualize somebody doing this. What are some of the craziest/strangest rabbit holes you've ever been down? YouTube videos of old chainsaw restorations. No idea why, but I guess that's why it's a rabbit hole. I don't even own a chainsaw or have a need for one. I spent a bunch of time about 12 years ago or so reading about all the details of the Titanic, how it sunk, what happened as it was sinking, who died, who survived. I got into the life stories of the people who died and what became of the people who survived. And then I very nearly bought a piece of carpet from the Titanic. Not just a rabbit hole, it seems, possibly a budding hyperfixation? Mechanical keyboards. I wanted to buy one, so I started researching and watching videos of reviews. I went deeper and deeper, seeing special cables, obscure companies, the tons of switches, etc., etc. I stopped when a YouTuber I watched made a video asking her viewers and Discord users to stop bullying and harassing her for her using some kind of switches or keycaps. I bought my keyboard and never went back to that crazy fandom. I do think some keyboards are cool, but keyboard enthusiasts that are also kind of pretentious about it, please get a job. I worked in administration at an aviation academy for a few years and decided I'd start listening to aviation podcasts since I didn't know much about it. I came across a plane crash podcast that talks about crashes in history and how it improved the safety of flying. I was fascinated by it and found myself gradually needing to know more and listening to more of the same type of podcasts, watching videos, and listening to black box recordings. It was eerie but interesting at the same time. Now I regret it tremendously because since then I've developed horrible anxiety when flying. Yeah, I feel like that would put me off to flying just a little bit, but then again I watch car crash videos and I drive for a living, so I don't know what's changed. GeoGuessr, a web game that uses Google Street View. They drop you somewhere 100% random in the world, and by just walking around you have to figure out where you are and place a pin on the map to guess. You can just aim for what country you think you're in if you want, but I got ridiculously obsessed with getting it correct with pinpoint accuracy down to 1 meter. I would sometimes spend like 3 to 4 hours walking miles and miles around somewhere in the middle of nowhere, Africa or Taiwan or whatever, looking for enough clues for me to be able to figure it out. Oh, and it's worth noting, this was at the very beginning of the pandemic when I first started working from home. So yeah, abused it a little. That sounds fun actually. It's a little crazy how big GeoGuessr got that now there's like competitive game modes and there are metas for figuring out where you are in the world. Like I don't get it. Mega tsunamis. 1,000-foot walls of water moving at hundreds of miles per hour. It happens more than you would think. The Azores-Gibraltar Fault will cause one day. They're evidence they happened a few times in the Pacific. It doesn't take a meteor to happen. It could be an underwater landslide, Doggerland, or a large section of a volcanic island shearing off and falling into the ocean, Oahu. Doggerland is another rabbit hole that is worth Googling. One time I hooked up with a guy who turned out to be a conspiracy theorist. He thought colloidal silver water could cure cancer and AIDS. I looked it up and it turns out all that stuff is pretty harmless, so I let him feed me silver water and electrocute me. It felt nice. I had a great time learning all about the origins of this particular conspiracy theory. The scientist who popularized it later tried to convince everyone that garlic and onions are a deadly poison and we should never eat them. At that point, everyone stopped listening. I absolutely love the idea that people are willing to hook themselves up to batteries and eat metal, but they draw the line at giving up spaghetti sauce. Look, I'll eat batteries and suck on metal all I want, but you can't take away my sketty. Jim Jones and the People's Temple. If you don't know who and what that is, I highly suggest you read about it. Sounds like homework, no thanks. List of unusual deaths. Spent several hours looking at this. Locked in syndrome. It f***ed me up mentally for like a week. Terrifying. What makes you irrationally angry? Oh boy, a lot of things, unfortunately. When the motion sensor on a paper towel dispenser doesn't work. If anything, it makes me more mad when it does work, but it's like a delayed reaction. YouTube recommending vids that don't start with the first one of a series. Why start on part 6, you morons? When people speed up when I indicate a lane change. I'll never understand that, especially if you're merging onto a highway. It's like, oh yeah, no, I'll just not get on the freeway and fly off the road. No biggie. Overconfident people who are clearly not very bright. Drivers who don't turn their headlights on when it's raining. I never remember if you're supposed to turn them on when it's raining or like overcast and stuff, but I think I have automatic lights, so I don't have to worry about it. When people block the entire effing aisle with their shopping carts. It's like road rules, people. Like, stick to your right or left lane, depending on how you drive, but like, just stay out of the way. The lack of common sense in the general public typically found at the grocery store, roadways, airport, movie theater, sporting events, etc. When someone I'm with is already running late, which means I will be late as well. And instead of speeding up their makeup and stuff, they take extra time because we are already late, so it doesn't matter. I shouldn't get angry about it, but inside I'm boiling. My alarm clock when it's time to get up for work. What only works in movies? Doing whatever you want in a courtroom as long as you are going somewhere with it. Conveniently knocking someone unconscious so they're not bothering you for several minutes while you do secret stuff without killing them or serious brain damage. Actually lampshaded in Archer. Jumping through shattering glass windows and surviving without lacerations all over. Yeah, real like windows on houses and stuff just break into shards that just slice you right open. Shooting a gas tank so it explodes. Or removing a bullet from yourself and then you're fine. Running away from an explosion and letting the blast push you to safety. Jump towards the camera. Running for a very long time and then being able to talk normally. Tom Cruise can do that, but he learned to regulate his breath by doing certain things with his mouth in the closet he's living in. Oh, come on now. We did low blows. Keeping someone from falling by holding onto one of their hands. Bonus points if they let go of a ledge and someone grabs their arm before they fall more than a few inches. Turning on the TV and hearing the relevant news story at that very moment. You're much more likely to catch Tucker Carlson going on another one of his weird rants or something about how the stocks are bad. CPR that lasts a minute and the victim wakes up and is fine. Crawling through air vents as regular air vents are too small to fit a human body, let alone hold the weight of one. TV and movies did lie to me. When I was a child, I always wanted to just crawl through the air vents. Stalking a woman until she finally sees how great of a guy you are, and then you two ending up with a happily ever after. Ending a phone conversation without saying any variation of bye. I mean, you can do this in real life. The other person's just gonna think you're an a-hole. They never wait long for elevators, especially in those high-rise buildings they always use in movies. Like, you're guaranteed waiting for like 10 minutes for it to hit every floor. Gamers of Reddit, what do you feel is a franchise that needs to make a comeback? Command & Conquer. SSX will settle for a 4K remaster of Tricky. Honestly surprised this hasn't like been in the works yet. I mean, it could be, we just don't know about it. Legacy of Kain. Time Splitters. Gauntlet. Overlord. Dungeon Keeper. Turok. I want to shoot dinosaurs. I mean, in a way you can just play Ark, but I don't know if... Wait, are there guns in Ark? I haven't played it. I loved Fable. Supposedly the new one is in the works. This is great news. Jak and Daxter. It would be interesting to see them revive this. What are some creepy facts about human nature? On a recent date with the CSI, I learned that a lot of people die naked on or near the toilet. Apparently people get very hot and try to strip down when close to death. I must be dying every night I go to sleep because I'm just sweating bullets. The Call of the Void. This occurs when humans are on higher places like rooftops or cliffs and get the urge to jump. It's actually pretty common. Is there a connection to that with like vertigo? Because vertigo kind of makes me feel like I'm falling even though I'm not. The eyes have a separate immune system than the rest of the body. If your body's immune system realizes your eyes exist, it'll attack the eyes and reject them from the body as it would a virus. Our bodies do a pretty good job of keeping us alive and healthy, but it also tries to kill you too. We possess the genes for regeneration, similar to starfish and salamanders. They are on the same chromosome as the genes for scar tissue formation. However, they are not turned on, whereas the scar tissue genes are. So technically, we could pull a piccolo and regenerate limbs like a starfish, but we don't because it's way too metabolically demanding on energy. If we could do it, you'd likely shave years off your life in exchange. Instead, we make scar tissue to reinforce the injured area. I love how unnecessary the piccolo mention was there, because you said starfish anyways, like I don't... whatever. You only need 30 people in order to trigger mob mentality in order to control an entire crowd crowd of anywhere upwards to 10,000 plus people blindly copying them. Seen the video of the guy dancing at a festival? He's just busting some moves, having a good time. People watching, some chuckling, and he's just carrying on having a good time. After a bit, somebody joins in. They keep going. Somebody else joins in. Then somebody else. And another. Then there's this freaking deluge of people, and it's like a rave. Great to see. People just feeding on and adding to that energy. That pretty much everyone has the capacity for extreme evil given the right circumstances. Learned memories, i.e. people 100% sure they remember things which actually never happened, but were told many times by media/memes/others. I observed this for certain episode which happened less than 10 years ago, and which everyone whom I asked witnessed themselves personally, but they all clearly remember it in a way it was presented in memes and jokes, and not how they actually saw it happen. I remember reading that if you look at pictures of sick people, your immune system will automatically give itself a little boost just by looking at the pictures. You see this shit, Brian? Do you want to end up like that? I can't tell if they're referring to themselves or supposed to be saying brain. After a back surgery, your organs might have been moved to perform certain parts of the surgery. The doctors don't move your organs back to their original place. This funny feeling you get after the surgery is your organs moving themselves back to their original place. Yes, they are capable of that. Oh, that sounds awful, and also weird of the doctors to not put them back where they found it. Like, come on. What's the ugliest name you can think of? I knew somebody here in my country named their kid COVID Rose. I bet the child would spite their parents. Gaylord Buttram. Found him randomly in the phone book ages ago. Poor bastard. That is the funniest name. Oh my god, poor guy. Pubert. That's not even a rough draft name. That's like you shouldn't have even gotten to final selection on that one. In Finland, there's a name Yrjö that translates to vomit or puke. The designer for Mount Rushmore, Gutzon Borglum, the Lord of the Rings, called. Surprised Peter Jackson didn't make a character just for this name. Crentist. Your dentist's name is Crentist? I once knew a girl named Felony. I couldn't believe it. Some people shouldn't have kids. My ex-girlfriend and her family claim to know a set of twins, boy and girl, named Anthon he and Anthon she, named after their father, Anthony. I actually don't believe you. I don't think that's a real thing. XAsh-A12. It's pronounced Kyle. I feel like as a child you should be allowed to sue your parents when you get old enough because of a horrible name like that. Gruntilda. I mean, she was just bound to be evil with that kind of name. Quagmire. Ben Dover. As much as I want to believe nobody has this name, there's definitely somebody that's had this name. Tell 'em Large Marge sent ya. What are people's honest first thoughts when you see someone with face tattoos? I think it heavily depends on what kind of tattoos they have on their face, because some can be not great. I usually wonder what they do for work that allows them to have face tats, or why they didn't wait to find a better artist for such visible pieces that they've been in prison. I convinced a judge to let me use foundation on a male client to cover face tattoos because the stigma is so prevalent. I wonder why they got that. A rapper named Lil Skies claims he got face tats as motivation towards his dream, because now he can't get a normal job. Interesting strategy, like I've heard of the guy before, so I guess it works. That they used to have $500. Do they have regrets or no regrets? Ultimately, their decision, but definitely not a decision I would have made. And, ouch, depends. For example, if they're Maori or from certain other cultures, it's a meaningful symbol. As a former tattooer and someone whose in-laws have owned a tattoo shop since 1978, when I see someone with a facial tattoo, I just hope that they're a fellow tattooer or an artist or musician. Basically just someone who is self-employed in an industry where they can thrive without being judged for having facial tattoos. All tattooers I know will often refuse to tattoo people's faces and hands, especially if they're young and likely still early in their search for a career or life path. Tattooers call face and hand tats job stoppers for a reason, and it's usually not a very smart idea to get them if you're not already on a life path where they're not going to hinder your career. If you're at a point where it won't fuck up your life, then go for it. I personally think they can look cool as fuck when done well. Honestly, I find it a little bit intimidating and tend to assume that they aren't very nice. It's a little judgy judgy book by cover, but it sometimes can be true. I really don't care. This is the attitude most people should take with it, I think. Have you ever actually met/know someone who has won the lottery? What happened to them? My mother-in-law won $33K on a scratch-off. She paid off some debt and got new windows installed on her house. The new windows in her 1890s farmhouse are amazing. Don't think I've seen a happier woman. Two people, actually. One was a friend of mine in high school who won $15,000 on a scratch and win. She rented a house downtown and threw a party. Somebody said I should stop by and check in on her because they'd been down to the party and hardly recognized anybody. Sure enough, I got there. My friend met me on the door, put way too much money in my hands, and told me to go get a bottle of wine. She just partied with whoever was around until I was gone. Took about 3 weeks. Next was a friend of mine from Toronto who is mostly known for doing zombie walks. She won a cash for life dealio, and I think it's around $10,000 a month. She bought a theremin and started making 50s style monster movies and is generally living a high-rolling rockabilly lifestyle. Okay, that second friend sounds awesome. They know exactly what to do with money. My neighbor won the lottery in his 60s. It was something like $1.2 million in the late 90s. We lived in a trailer park in a rural part of the US and a pretty low cost of living area, so the money stretched pretty far. He bought his trailer and land outright with the money and pretty much just spent every day drinking on his porch and yelling at his goats. IIRC, he used a good chunk of what he won to put his son and grandkids through college. Died of liver failure at like 85 or something. Not a terrible way to do it, all said and done. I like that he was content with the trailer. Yeah, even if I won the lottery for millions of dollars, I'd probably just buy like a small little house, like a 2-bedroom house. That's all you need. Friends of ours won 30 mil. They took a group of us on vacation, bought a cottage and built a house. Not much really changed. They are doing great. Someone got 30K or something. Not too much, not too less. She got a lot of hate for not sharing her riches, whatever the f that means. I do believe that you should be sharing your riches and wealth, whatever, especially if you win it, but at the same time, 30K is not that much, and depending on how many friends you have, you cannot give to all of them. Technically, a kid from school's parents won a few $100,000. His parents were chill, acted like they had the same money as before, but the kid was acting like a baller. Ah, yes, money getting to a child's head. They felt the taste of greed already. My sister's ex won around $150 million. Nicest guy. His brother manages the money so he doesn't blow it. Living his best life. Money never changed him because he was already so chill. Dude deserves it after putting up with my sister. Helped out my niece, not his daughter, with college. What a nice guy. I mean, with 150, yeah, you can definitely share it a little bit. A woodwork teacher from high school won the lottery twice. I think it was only around $250K each time, so he didn't quit his job, but he completely gave up on trying to keep the class under control. He'd usually just show us YouTube videos of him racing superbikes in the countryside. He gave me a decent grade for a clock I made at least. Friend won $1 million. They paid off their house, saved for their kids' education, and basically don't live paycheck to paycheck anymore. Both of them still work full-time. I had a patient, a hairdresser who owned her own shop, who won about $6 million. Her winnings were announced in the local newspaper. She consulted the right professionals, worked a plan to sell her salon, and mapped a way to retire on her winnings without a change in her lifestyle. But she told me that she had old boyfriends and even guys that barely knew her in high school who called her for some variation of, you know, I always loved you. She just laughed and blew them off. As she should. Ugh, like just leeches. Ugh, get out of here. Gross. What stopped you from having a crush on them? Met someone else who was way cooler and actually liked me. Yeah, that's valid. He was a jerk to another girl who also had a crush on him. She was my friend and never had a mean word to say about anyone. And he said some real rude to her and mocked her when she tried to ask him out. It was like an immediate switch. My teenage girl brain went from, he's just a little rough around the edges, to, no, wait, that guy, he sucks, instantaneously. After he sorta knew, each time he saw me and he was with a group of friends, he would sorta make fun by laughing and pointing over. What an ass. She asked me out to a baseball game because she already had tickets. Then she expected me to pay her for both of them. Yeah, that's a bit delusional to expect him to pay for the tickets you already had. She was a lesbian. Skill issue. You should have tried to be a lesbian too. Drake moment. Asking them out. Quickest way to prevent wasting pining time. He had no toilet paper in his house. Fine, been there. When I used his bathroom. However, there was a rag with literal feces on it in the shower. Desperate times call for desperate measures, but but that is never justifiable. Physically a 10, but had the personality of a tree stump and social skills of a rattlesnake. Social skills of a rattlesnake. Weird how I know exactly what you mean. I reckon it comes from a lifetime of being put on a pedestal for being attractive. My friend asked her out after I told him I liked her. You know, this happened a lot to me in high school. She's hot, but she has a ridiculously strong belief in astrology to the point everything and everyone has to be judged through her belief system. Watched him bully a classmate with a learning disability. That was a turnoff and a half. I think you can round that up to just 2 solid turnoffs, not just a half. If dogs go woof, cats go meow, ducks go quack, etc., what is the generalized sound for humans? Oh, here, I got you. It's, blah, blah, blah. In my experience, it's, can I get a... Yeah, that's pretty close. That sound that the adults make in Peanuts. Womp womp, womp womp. The Sims made a whole fake language that genuinely sounds like human speaking, but is complete gibberish. Therefore, my answer is Simlish. It is the same sound in all languages. It is assumed to be among the first words used by humans. It is an exclamation used to express surprise and sometimes anger. If your time machine took you back 40,000 years, this would be important to remember. Source, my linguist spouse. But that's not exclusive to humans. I mean, my dog does it all the time, even though he doesn't have to go to work. Oh, hi, Mark. Laughter. It's a sound pretty unique to human beings. What about hyenas? I mean, hyenas, I don't know if they're actually laughing necessarily, but I'm also no animal expert, so don't ask me. Hello, we've been trying to contact you about your car's extended warranty. Okay, most recognized word in the world. What is an old movie that aged extremely well? Some Like It Hot and Arsenic and Old Lace are still hilarious, and I'm always bugging people to watch them, especially if they have never watched any black and white movies. My Cousin Vinny, Alien. God, it's just so good. It's practically timeless, really. The Thing. Forever gonna be one of my #1 horror movie recommendations. They Live. I'm here to chew bubblegum and kick ass, and I'm all out of bubblegum. I'm here to kick gum and chew ass, and I'm all out of gum. Clue with Tim Curry. I just think that movie's so fun for having multiple endings, so it's like the actual board game. 12 Angry Men. I remember reading the book in high school. I kind of don't remember anything about it. Jurassic Park isn't that old, but considering when it came out compared to where we're at with CGI now, it's very impressive. Office Space. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go ahead and sort of agree with you there. What's a series that was canceled that you wish wasn't? Mindhunter. Those BTK teasers. I hoped Invader Zim might get revived after the Netflix movie. Doesn't seem to be happening. I'm saltiest about I Am Not Okay With This and Mindhunter. I Am Not Okay With This had such a good, awkward, coming-of-age feel about it combined with horror/supernatural/mystery elements. It had such potential. 100% at I Am Not Okay With This. Yeah, easy joke, but it sounds like you are not okay with Netflix canceling it. Better Off Ted. Pushing Daisies. I remember liking this show when I was younger. I kind of want to figure out where I can watch it. Hannibal. Incredible show with an insane cast. Futurama. Then Futurama again. Then Futurama again. My Name is Earl. One of the biggest cliffhangers in cinema history. Did we ever find out if his name really was Earl? Inside Job on Netflix. It had potential and was really well made. Glow. It seriously needed one more season. If you could choose one animal to go extinct, who will it be and why? Ticks. Those disease vector little murderers. Bed bugs. I'm currently spending thousands of dollars and countless hours of labor to get them out of my house, and don't get me started on the bites and itching. They are like a plague, and they have no redeemable virtues. I would like for them to become extinct and then to retroactively have my money and time back. Please? Mosquitoes, because they suck. There are like 3,000 different species of mosquitoes, and only about 200 bite humans. Those 200 can go. The other 2,800 are pollinators and help our environment. They can stay. Bed bugs, ew. Zebra mussels or Asian carp. Down with invasive species. Roaches. Nah, there are much worse bugs out there. Roaches at least clean up all over the leftover bullshit food bits that accumulate in crevices. Would much rather deal with them than mosquitoes, bed bugs, and ticks. Seeing a consensus that we do not like ticks, mosquitoes, or bed bugs. Bot flies. Every single one of them is a product of pain and discomfort. Just the fact they lay their eggs on people, other animals, whatever, and then their babies like crawl out of your skin. Oh, it's so gross. Murder hornets. Yeah, those can go. I mean, they don't pose an immediate threat to me, but yeah, get rid of them. Influencers. The correct answer. I mean, whatever floats your boat, I guess. Well, that's gonna do it for this one. Thank you all once again for watching. My name is Brandon, and I will talk to you another day. Get out of here. Bye.